And part of it, and here's a valid point coming in on the Swears Trucking chat line, part of that deal, night number 1, was pretty premeditated because that's something that carried over from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And that's even more disturbing that a driver can do that. Joel, you're shaking your head. I want to know what you're thinking.
I just don't want to have to do that again. I really don't. A lot of things happened.
Well, I'm sure in your situation, you just don't have a procedure for a fight, right?
Nope.
You have exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're shooting from the hip.
Everything we do is so premeditated as fire and rescue. We
Right.
know there's the procedure to follow. But when it comes to something like that,
you're dealing with emotions. You're not dealing with a protocol for a situation that you've written out and followed and trained for.
exactly.
Yeah, is it coming down to that?
I hope not.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I hope, I honestly, because of everything that happened this weekend, I'm glad it's behind us.
Oh, yeah.
I want to move forward from this and hope that we never see that kind of driving at Willamette Speedway again.
I hope we don't see that at any racetrack ever.
Sure. We all know it's going to happen.
We all know it's going to, unfortunately.
And I'll be honest, there was a time when I was crew chiefing, I came about 3 hairs from going fisticuffs with someone.
Oh.
Well, we've been there. We've been there.
I was going to say, last year I was the same. You had that anger built up inside you, but you didn't let it happen.
Exactly. But at the same time,
You didn't act on it.
I didn't act on it.
You thought about it. You rationalized. You thought, okay, there's a cause and effect here. I do this. This is probably what's going to happen. It's not going to turn out good for me. Right?
I would have been fine. It was the other dude I was worried about.
Well, the consequences.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Corey. I really do. And it's, it's not just that, but we look at, we talked about it earlier, I believe earlier in the season when, what's his name, back in Georgia, the moonshiner guy lost his marbles and went sideways.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's publicity, but look at what it did to his name. That show.
Show me a racetrack that's going to let that guy race there.
Yeah, and that show now is what's going to happen with his character on that show. There's lasting repercussions from every action you have on the racetrack, whether it's a win, whether it's a loss, whether it's a wreck, a situation like what we had to deal with at Willamette Speedway this weekend. I mean, you got to think about, and what I think about even when I put on my suit, even though I'm not a driver, well, I'm representing my team.
Right.
I'm representing my crew. I'm representing all the people that have put, sponsored Extreme Fire and Rescue. That's what I think about. And I conduct myself, and Corey's seen this. I mean, Corey and Dom, you guys both know me outside of the track, outside of racing, on a personal level. And when I'm at the track representing those organizations,
you're a different person.
I am a completely different person. And even when I'm on the track in my suit versus when I'm up in the tower,
you're a different person.
I'm a different person.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. The other part about that, too, is there's two sides of that as well. When you talk about how your driver's representing your sponsors, your driver's representing this and that, there's a crew representing that driver. Who's responsible for that crew? That driver. What if somebody on that crew goes out and does somebody, physically harms somebody else? Who gets the repercussions of that?
The driver.
That driver is going to get suspended. People get caught up in the moment and don't remember that.
Right.
They get too caught up in the emotions.
That's one thing that Matthew and I always talked about. It seemed like we had the conversation every 6 weeks of, just remember, you represent me. And I'm like, no, I know, dude. I know. I'm good. Don't worry. I'm not gonna go lose my marbles. We're good.
Oh yeah, we had so many photos of what was happening to people, like Rod and things like that last year. It was plain as day, but you just don't say anything. You just let it go. You want the sport to grow, not to get smaller, not to become a problem.
Exactly.
I saw comments stating, "Oh, that driver gained a lot of fans." I will argue that I heard a lot more boos than I did cheering, and those that were cheering are just, I don't care whose fault it was. I don't care. I've got my opinion like everybody else. Sure. I've watched the video. I've been around racing long enough. I can tell who is responsible for what happened. This whole thing was spurred by nothing more than a simple act of racing. Two cars getting together, fighting for position. One person took it personal.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened next was just an unbelievable display of immaturity.
We've got
anger.
Another one on the Swears Trucking chat line. This actually happened 3 times this weekend. We also had the modified division.
The other one, right? The other one, I don't even want to touch on that because here's why. I didn't see that. It was so minor in comparison to what we're talking about now. And there's people that were talking. I didn't see it. I can't say anything about that. I know the 63 and the 17E got together. What I saw out of the corner of my eye was a quick 2 cars getting together.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to touch that right now.
Sure.
It's so minor. Is it right? No, it's not. From what I understand, I didn't even see it. I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing.
No, I didn't even notice what you're talking about.
I was standing about 30 feet from it.
Okay.
Wow.
That in comparison to what we're talking about people intentionally trying to hurt somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They're with a race car. No place for it. No place for it. No justification. There is no way you can validate that type of behavior.
No.
And not just on a racetrack, but in life.
Agreed. And that's just it. We're talking about life.
Let's just say that let's just say that you own Acme Brooms.
Okay.
Okay. You're the owner of Acme Brooms. And you go out to the races to watch your car race. And your driver goes out and just intentionally rams somebody under caution. Are you going to keep your name on that race car?
Well, that's just it. It's one way or the other. Is it encouraged or is it discouraged? And you just don't know. It's personally myself, I wouldn't.
No way.
That's not me. I'm not in that situation right now.
Well, we start talking about ramifications like that. Look what's going on the pro circuit in NASCAR. That Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano deal that happened last season or the season before.
Yeah.
Kenseth's contract's not getting renewed with JGR now.
Right. And
you can't tell me that doesn't play into effect to it at all.
There were people that celebrated that as well. Yeah, I don't care if you like the drivers. I don't care if you don't like the driver.
Sure.
If they're driving a brand of car that you don't support, whatever the case may be, there's no room for celebration in that. It's just a complete. It's a black eye in the sport.
That's correct. I agree with you 100%.
I mean, I don't know what is going to happen out of this. I'm not a track owner. I stated my opinion on what I would do. I don't know what track ownership or management is going to do, if they're going to talk with these guys. That's not my decision to make. What happens, I'll do my job like I always do in the best, most professional manner that we can. But something needs to come out of this to stop this. We've seen it. It's been going on too long.
And it's maybe building up. I don't know.
And this whole thing, they're saying, oh, well, this happened at this track, and then this guy did this at that track. That's in the past, okay?
Yeah.
Learn from it. Don't live in it. You're on the racetrack now. Let's worry about what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no – I'm at a loss of words.
Well, there's no in-between.
There's not. It's like the world politics right now here in America. You're either far left or far right,
yep.
and common sense is in the middle, and nobody's there.
Right.
It's unbelievable. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
It's a shame. I don't know how anybody can support that. I mean, it's this. You guys,
we're all looking at each other.
Well, that's the thing. We're all at a loss of words. I mean, given what we've seen this weekend, I've thought about. I've woke up twice in the middle of the night thinking about this, and how just unbelievable, unexcusable this is.
Yeah.
I actually twice since Saturday night I've woke up in the middle of the night thinking about this deal.
And the hard part is even talking about it, because you have to find a tactful way to talk about it.
You do, and here's the thing.
It's such.
I like everybody. All those. I do. I like them. They're probably not going to like me after what I said tonight. That's their choice. Okay? Like anybody else on this planet, I'm entitled to have an opinion.
Yes, you are.
I didn't go on Facebook. I didn't bash anybody.
Nope.
I didn't go on Facebook and talk trash about anybody or facilities or anybody else. I waited to do it on my show, and I talked about my opinion where it matters. Okay?
We forgot to play the hot pit segment intro.
This is the hot pit.
Dang it!
We went right into it.
Oh man!
Hey, listen, I'll tell you right now, we're lucky that there's not another hot pit segment because we got a certain individual that is fired up and
Yeah, he's got a lot to say.
well, yeah, that's putting things lightly. I know, and here's the thing about this. And it's coming up on the Swears Trucking. This whole thing is coming up. I was shocked. It's disgusting. It's such it's just there's no good. There's nothing good came out of this whole thing for the racetrack, for the sponsors, for the drivers, for the fans, for the kids. Nothing good came out of that.
No.
Period. The thing about that too is that's going to get around. People are going to talk about that. There's just that's what bothers me most. When you care about a place like Willamette Speedway, it means something to you. You grew up there. You've got memories of most of your life. You've got
See, for me, it's relatively new. The past 3 years. You have to remember, I just moved to Oregon a few years ago. But for me, it's special. I live across the street. I mean, how much better could I have it? And it is an important part of my life. With my father-in-law, with Mac and Amco, with everybody. It's so important to me. And I just want to make sure I see it flourish, not, deflate.
Well, and that's the thing. You start losing sponsors and fans and cars, and because how many times, how many messages have we? And you guys have seen.
Oh, we get them. Yeah.
This week has been nuts. I've had to turn my messages off during the day, even because there's so many coming in about this particular weekend and what we saw. How I'm not bringing. We've got one driver that's got all of his stuff up for sale. He's fed up. He's done because of this.
Yep.
Again, that just cost you 3 or 4 race cars. That just cost you possibly a track sponsorship.
Yeah.
And you've got to nip that in the bud. You've got to get on top of that and say enough is enough. I know in night 1 or night 2 they did the retaliation speech. They said that won't be tolerated. And this is after they let a guy race, after he went out and intentionally tried to hurt somebody. What does that say? That tells you can come up to Willamette Speedway, do whatever you want. There's not going to be any consequences.
Let me come smack you on the wrist.
Right. That's what it says. Don't do it again. You race tomorrow. I don't know how that happened. I don't know why that happened, but it should not have happened.
Yeah.
Joel?
I'm still trying to process everything that happened this weekend.
That's part of the problem right now. We're discussing this. We don't even know everything.
And the thing, too, is that I was so involved in these situations.
Yeah, but you were hands-on.
I'm still processing it personally. So, therefore, that's why I'm being fairly quiet tonight, is that I'm still processing everything that I went through this weekend, and it was a lot to go through. And I'm not talking just what happened. It's the mechanics behind it, how it happened, the on-track incidents, how it bled over into, out of the public eye, the things we had to deal with there, and with my prior experiences from my prior career fields, processing all of that. So it's, you guys got to see it, that part of it.
Oh, sure.
And I heard Corey over the system when one of the incidents happened. He said over the announcer system, there are safety precautions being taking place back in the pit area. There were.
Sure.
Beyond that,
here's a message we just got, not on the Swears Trucking chat line, but we actually got it through our Facebook, and it says, and this right here, this is the effect this has on the sport. Here's a message from one of our listeners right now, who is a major sponsor at a track, that says, as a sponsor of the class, I'd be fuming about this. But I know how hot-headed it can be. Still no justification for it. But that's a sponsor of a class at a track here in the Northwest. Now, if that sponsor decides to say, you know what,